Okay guys, time for another watch review. This is my personal Skx'S NY0040 with the blue dial on a custom mil-tapped Jubilee bracelet. I'm going to go over this watch right quick. I'm sure you've watched reviews on it. You've watched reviews with this watch being compared to the Skx. I'm not really going to do that. I think this watch stands on its own merits. I think it's not exactly supposed to be compared to the Skx. So I think they were released around the same time, 93, 94 time era. What I want to get into is, should you buy this watch or should you be looking at an Skx? And where this watch is going in terms of popularity and availability. So it's a 42 millimeter case width, pretty standard. I'm not going to measure it. You should know this by now if you're looking at this watch. The lug width is 20 millimeter, so you've got quite availability for strap options, bracelet options, whatever you want to put on this thing. This came on a standard rubber strap. This came from Amazon UK. I bought this 8 months ago for $169. So that's what I'm saying. This is way below Skx pricing. So $169, I'm getting a Miyota 8200 hand wound movement, 21 joule, 21,600 beats per hour movement if you care about that. That said, you've got a screw down crown, hand winding movement. The crown is on the left side versus the right. You obviously know this about the Skx's. If you're watching this, it's a 60 click bezel versus the 120. If you're looking at some dive watches that have 120 click bezel, doesn't matter to me because this thing lands point on, point on. So I don't mind it being 60 click if it hits its mark. There's not a lot of deviation in the bezel mark and the chapter ring alignment on the Skx's. So you want 120 on the Skx versus a 60 that is dead on the Skx's. I'm fine with it. The one thing about the bezel, there's always a little bit of play. See that little bit of play? That seems to be synonymous with the Skx's. This thing is not popped off. I don't see any problem with it spinning around. I've seen other people talk about there's a little bit of bezel play. I'm showing you right here. If you get one, don't freak out. It seems to be a common just design flaw or design issue or just slop in the manufacturing of it. Doesn't bother me because I'd rather have a little bit of play in my bezel versus the screw down crown comes out way smoother on the Skx's versus the Skx. When I unscrew the Skx, it feels like a Vostok. It pops out. There's a lot of play. I have two, a 007 and 009. I've owned a lot of Skx's. I'm just letting you know that I feel more of a fine-tuned crown that screws out on the Skx's. So can I tolerate a little bezel play versus having a floppy crown that I'm not really happy with on the Skx? Doesn't bother me. It's not gonna go anywhere. So just give you an up and close of what you get. Put this on a Jubilee. You could put it on an Oyster. You can put this on NATO, just like you would Skx. So I don't really need to get into strap options. I think you know where you're gonna go with that. I do like that it is hand wound. I can wind this the day before, and if I'm gonna decide to change watches out, it's already up and going, and it's cruising right along. This is my only Citizen Promaster automatic, but it is far more accurate than my SKXs. And nothing against them, I love them, and I would never get rid of them. But I mean, this guy is, I don't know, 7 seconds a day, 5 seconds some days. Depends on where I'm at and how long I've worn it. It's killing the SKX, which runs, plus 20. So where I'm getting at is, I'll show you this back before I start ranting on and on. Clean that up. You don't get as nice of a back on the Citizen. It's just a laser etched back. It seems very prone to scratching. I've polished it with a Cape Cod cloth a couple times. Don't let your bracelet slap against it. It'll scratch it to death, but it's a standard screw down case back. It's not a emblazoned logo like you have on a SKX, but it's still decent. I can live with it. It's not a big issue. Polished sides, so it lends itself to being worn with a Jubilee or bracelet that's got polished and buffed edges. If you can get one of these NY0040s under $229, I'd get it. I don't know if they're completely discontinued. This one also has a German date. It's English and German. So I don't know that the availability is going to be there much longer, or is it just into certain countries? But I think the SKX going 300 plus is getting ridiculous. I think you're getting a great movement. I think it's superior to the 7S26 by far. So, and again, I'm a Seiko fan, but I just love the watch. It does have a different look. The dial has a little more of a sunburst effect going with it, but it is its own deal. It's got the left hand crown, which has a little bit of a divot in it. It hand winds very well. I mean, it's kind of got a kind of a high, tinny, gritty hand winding movement to it, like an Orient. Screws down. So if you already have an SKX, definitely scoop up one of these Citizens. I don't know that the availability is going to be there on these Citizens. I don't think they're produced in such a large quantity that the SKX is. So I'd probably grab this and then wait for the SKX to calm down, find a used one in good condition. But if you can get this guy under 200, snatch it up. It's definitely right on par with the SKX. And I have two. So you've got black dial, blue dial. Again, $169, Amazon, UK. They got a full lume version, but it's high. It's expensive. Cool watch. Just thought I'd throw this review in there. Citizen. Show you on the wrist. And I've got just a little bit over 6 1/4 inch wrist. Wears small. I think it wears smaller than the SKX. The other thing is this crown is not digging into your wrist every 2 seconds. You can see I have worn a spot from too much wear of my Seikos that want to rub into my wrist. So wears small in my opinion. Again, I'm under 6 1/2 inch. Lug width is falling where I need it to fall. You see? Again, this is just a Miltat Jubilee, but put it on anything you want. Anyway, just want to give you my review of my Citizen Automatic Promaster Diver.